Marcus, sweetheart, I always admired your charity work. But this? She's a black trash playing dress-up in your mother's pearls.
She's better than you. She's better than everyone standing in this room. And in about 10 minutes, you're all gonna understand exactly why, and you're gonna regret your actions.
The ballroom went quiet the second Whitney Calloway looked Camille up and down and laughed. "Marcus, sweetheart," she said, loud enough for the cameras near the bar to catch every word. "I always admired your charity work. But this? She's a black trash playing dress-up in your mother's pearls." Every phone in the room lifted at once. Marcus didn't raise his voice. He didn't have to. Marcus looked directly into Calloway and said, "She's better than you. She's better than everyone standing in this room. And in about 10 minutes, you're all going to understand exactly why." Camille Reyes-Hart didn't grow up anywhere near ballrooms. She grew up in a 2-bedroom rental in Gary, Indiana, where her mother worked double shifts at a hospital laundry facility and her father drove a delivery route 6 days a week. Camille was the kind of kid who read library books under a flashlight and asked her 4th-grade teacher questions the teacher had to look up that night. By 16, she was tutoring other students for gas money. By 18, she'd earned a full ride to a state university nobody in her neighborhood had ever heard of, and by 22, she'd turned that into a scholarship to law school most people assumed was out of reach for a girl from her zip code. She didn't take the corporate job everyone expected. She took the one that paid less. Public housing law, representing families about to lose their homes to landlords who never expected to be challenged, let alone beaten, by a 26-year-old woman who'd once been one of those families herself. You'll understand in a minute why that matters more than anyone in that ballroom knew. For 9 years, she built a reputation judges quietly respected and slumlords quietly feared. She won cases nobody else wanted to touch. She never took credit publicly. She just kept showing up. And somewhere in the middle of all that, at a housing policy conference nobody glamorous was supposed to attend, a man named Marcus Hart heard her speak and canceled the rest of his week to hear the rest of what she had to say. Marcus wasn't just anyone. His family's name was on 3 hospital wings and half the boardrooms in the state. And from the moment he brought Camille home, his family made their feelings clear without ever saying them out loud in front of him. His mother asked, in front of the whole extended family, whether Camille understood what she was walking into. Camille answered without flinching, "I understand exactly what I'm walking into, and I intend to walk into it as myself." The room went silent. Nobody had ever answered his grandmother like that. Nobody had ever needed to. The tabloids were crueler. They called her a gold digger. They ran her childhood address next to unflattering photos. They speculated about her motives in ways they never once speculated about Marcus's. She never responded. Not once. She kept showing up to the housing clinic every single morning like nothing had changed. Because for her, nothing had. And at the center of it all was Whitney Calloway, Marcus's ex, the woman who'd expected to wear the family name herself, and who had spent 2 years finding new ways to remind Camille and everyone watching that she didn't belong. Keep that in mind. Because tonight, that's about to end. Whitney wasn't done. She turned to the crowd and said it again, louder this time, so the photographers by the door wouldn't miss it. "She will never belong in a room like this." A few people laughed, not because it was funny, but because laughing along with a Calloway was the safe thing to do in a room where their name touched half the businesses represented that night. That's when the doors opened, and Judge Eleanor Whitfield walked in. Nobody in that room needed an introduction. As the retired federal judge who now chaired the state's largest housing reform initiative, her word carried more weight than every fortune in that ballroom combined. She walked straight past Marcus, straight past Whitney, directly to Camille. And she did something no one in that room had ever seen her do for anyone. She inclined her head. 9 years ago, Judge Whitfield said, her voice carrying easily across a room that had gone completely silent. This woman argued a case that changed housing law in this state forever. 11,000 families are still in their homes tonight because of her, including mine. Glasses paused halfway to open mouths. The judge kept going, describing the case Camille had taken for free when no firm would touch it, the appeal she'd argued twice after losing the first time, the years she'd spent afterward quietly training young attorneys to do the same work in cities that needed it most, never asking for a headline, never wanting her name on anything. One by one, guests who'd laughed 20 minutes earlier started finding reasons to be somewhere else. A hospital administrator approached first, thanking Camille personally for legal work that had protected a low-income housing development next to the children's wing. A university dean followed, crediting her with a mentorship program that had put 40 first-generation students through law school. Whitney tried to recover. "This is clearly staged," she said, her voice losing the confidence it had carried all night. Nobody backed her up. Not one person. Marcus crossed the room, took his wife's hand, and said nothing, because nothing needed to be said anymore. Within days, old clips of Whitney surfaced online, comments from other events, other years, patterns nobody had bothered to call out before because her family's influence made it inconvenient. Business partners distanced themselves. Board seats required reconsideration. The Calloway name, built over 3 generations, took less than a week to unravel. Whitney showed up at Camille's office 2 weeks later, asking, quietly, if Camille could forgive her, if she'd say publicly that there were no hard feelings. Camille listened without interrupting. Then she said the only thing she needed to say. Respect isn't requested. It's earned. Whitney left without another word. Before the night ended, Camille was asked to say a few words. The same room where, 2 hours earlier, she'd been called trash to her face. She stood at the podium and said this. Success has never had a color, and it never will, no matter how comfortable some people have gotten believing otherwise. Dignity can't be purchased at any price, no matter how large the fortune behind the offer. And no one should ever be measured by where they came from, only by what they choose to do once they're standing in the room. The applause started slow. Then the whole room stood. Marcus took her hand. They walked out together, no longer photographed as the billionaire and his questionable choice, but as two people who'd outlasted every single person who doubted them. And somewhere in that emptying ballroom, Whitney finally understood what she'd actually lost that night. It was never the argument. It was the one thing her family's entire fortune had never been able to buy, and never would. Let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos.